I don't have the advantages of the warmer weather per se.
Mm-hmm.
I have been shoveling snow the past couple of days, and we'll be doing overtime shoveling snow for the next few weeks.
Hey, it's
So,
overtime.
well, that is the part that I'm trying to focus on while my spine throbs and screams at me. You know, so
Otherwise, you'd have to pay for a gym. That's just no
Hey.
fun. Yeah.
Get paid to work out.
a gym would be infinitely warmer.
No, that's fair. Yeah.
Outside, calf deep in snow is not really where I want to be spending my weekends. But yeah, it is what it is. It's money. You
Yeah.
know, it looks nice in my paycheck, and I can sit there with my feet in a nice hot bath, just smiling at my paycheck, not doing much else but giving it to the powers that be.
Yeah.
Momentarily passing through.
Mm-hmm.
So, welcome to Cinematic Anarchy. I'm looking down to my left and seeing that we've already started. So
Matt did that.
it's all right. It's all
we
right.
always have so much fun discussion, and then it's like, oh, we should have hit record.
I should be
wow.
hitting record the second we sit down.
Yeah, well,
Mhm.
Matt did it.
I have
You're
not
welcome.
done that for anybody but you guys, because you have prompted it. So I don't mind. I don't mind at all. Except now I have to think, which order are we doing things in today?
Vibes is what we watched most recently, so I vote Vibes.
Vibes. Okay. Well, I've watched Vibes several times. I took notes, and
Wow.
much. Oh yeah, I took a lot of notes. I sat down, I wrote all this stuff out. And we've discussed this before. I've done this before where I've taken a lengthy amount of notes,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've yep, it's sitting it's actually sitting on their copier right now.
Oh, nice. It's just
Oh.
like Cindi Lauper is in the U.S. Cindi Lauper is not in the U.S. Cindi Lauper's back in the U.S. Like that's the
It's-
entire movie.
It's essentially psychic Indiana Jones. You know.
Yeah, I think the tagline was like romancing the stone in the temple. Ghostbusters romancing the stone in the temple of doom.
Ghostbusters in the Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because like in the opening sequence, I've got a little bit of. I felt a little bit of Indiana Jones. I felt a little bit of the Golden Child.
Yeah.
And of course, the whole sequence with the cards felt a lot like that opening sequence with Bill Murray.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Ghostbusters.
That uses to flirt with the girl and shock the guy that's actually psychic.
Yeah.
So this is a surprisingly, I wouldn't say star-studded cast, but there was a lot of people that I recognized in this.
Yeah. Yeah, my daughter actually sat down and watched this with us. So I was talking to Matt and I'm like, oh my God, Julian Sands is in this and John Kapelos. And I was listing off all the people in it. My daughter was like, oh, are they famous? And I was like, well.
What? What? They're famous to people.
Famous. Like if you know who they are, you're like, oh yeah, them. Great. If you don't know who they are, you're like, who?
They are famous to a certain age bracket. You
Yeah.
have to be this old to be able to ride this ride.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it felt like.
This is officially the first movie I've ever watched with Michael Lerner in a fairly rugged role. Like he was basically playing a treasure hunter in this.
Yeah.
In the opening sequence. And I'm just looking at it like, yeah, I've never seen him look this buff.
Yeah.
Like he's always been like just on that level of like Wayne Knight from Seinfeld for me.
Mm-hmm.
So like everything that he's done has always been kind of the silly, large guy in the film.
Yeah.
And in this, it was he was fairly serious actually. There wasn't a lot of joke to him outside of his comatose bit in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that is a very serious role for him.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that guy. Okay. I had forgotten half the people that were in this. I knew Jeff Goldblum was. I knew Cindi Lauper was. I totally forgot Julian Sands was in this.
Right.
I forgot like half of the people that were in this.
I have
Steve
had
Buscemi.
I've had this Blu-ray on my shelf since I started collecting boutique Blu-rays. So it's been sitting there, and I have not watched it. And now in the past 3 days, I've watched it 5 times
Well, there you go. Wow, you've watched this movie 5 times.
in 3 days.
Wow, you
And
watched
I
this
will say,
multiple times.
I will say that after watching the film 5 times in 3 days, I feel like Cindi Lauper should have done more acting.
She does a pretty good job in this. I got to admit, I remember watching this. Like, I think I've watched it 5 times in my lifetime. And I knew it. I knew it was weird. I remember, I thought, oh, this will fit well for the podcast, but I didn't remember a ton about it. And then I was watching it and I was like, oh my God, Cindi Lauper. I was approaching this with like she's going to be like Rowdy Roddy Piper and They Live. Like, she's going to be Cindi Lauper in a movie. But she did a great job. She did a great job. I thought she did a really good job. She's the most sympathetic character in the whole movie. She's the only one who has like an actual backstory.
Right.
Yeah.
Miss Piquel, Sylvia Piquel.
I think this is the first time I've ever seen it.
Vibes?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, this would be the first time I've ever seen it, so this is fresh for me. I've never watched this movie previously. I was just like, Cindi Lauper, Jeff Goldblum, psychic comedy. I was intrigued.
Yeah.
I didn't read the back of this. I have never read anything about this movie. I just saw Cindi Lauper and Jeff Goldblum, and I'm like, this has got to be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you got to go into this movie cold. It's one of those movies where you just have to be like, okay. I think you shouldn't even know it's a comedy.
I thought it was something different. I really did. Like I was expecting something completely different. I didn't think like an Indiana Jones meets a couple of psychics kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was decent. Mind you, on the other foot here, Jeff Goldblum didn't seem to know what he was doing in some of these scenes.
No,
he felt really out of place.
Yeah.
Well, we've been on a bit of a Jeff Goldblum semi-marathon. Like, my niece was over and I was like, you know what we need to watch? We need to watch Earth Girls Are Easy, because you need Earth Girls Are everyone should just sit down and watch Earth Girls Are Easy, just as a life goal, probably. So this came out the year after Vibes. So then we watched Vibes, and then we watched The Fly.
I was going to say The Fly.
Yeah, so
which
we've been on a...
I think it's one of his better films, The Fly.
It was good. Yeah. I knew parts of it. I think I was allowed to watch parts of it, but I think there were probably the sex parts. Dad was like, you gotta go. So I remembered the like him working out scenes, but that was it. So
I have the whole Fly box set over here. So there's like 5 films, and Jeff Goldblum was probably one of the better ones. I do like Vincent Price. I think he was in 2 movies. Like, he was the Fly in one of them, and then the other one he kind of played just sort of the buddy of the guy that turns into the Fly. Like, he didn't have that much to do with the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recommend watching all of them, honestly. For my wife, she personally liked the Jeff Goldblum Fly because it has him all oiled up with his shirt off, you know?
Yeah, well, then she needs to watch Earth Girls Are Easy, because...
That's a staple in this house.
Okay, good, Chris. I was going to be worried if it wasn't.
You kind of have to twist your arm to watch the horror films every once in a while, because there's some gross parts in that film.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, in The Fly.
Cronenberg does some real good practical effects.
Yeah.
He does. So
yeah, I was.
Although we were mad.
I was really impressed.
We were mad when he uses the baboon to go from one telepod to the other. I was like, why would you not use a mouse?
Initial living creature test.
Why would you not use a mouse? Would you be like, you know what? We need a person-sized animal.
This isn't going to work. So let's do the most messy thing possible.
Because then he had to clean that shit up.
With a shovel.
With a shovel.
He deserved what he got in the end. You put the baboons through there.
I know.
You deserve to be the Fly.
Yeah.
There's so many things you could have done. Yeah, mouse, exactly.
Yeah,
first, and then
definitely his Vibes character felt like the love child of his Transylvania 6 5000 character. and the guy from The Fly.
Yeah, but whenever he was in a scene with anybody else other than Cindi Lauper, he was fine.
Yeah.
But it seemed like every time he had to be in close quarters with her, like maybe he was intimidated by her a little bit.
I don't know. I guess they didn't get along, but
No, they definitely didn't get along during the making of
he
the film.
Definitely at the beginning, the scene at the beginning when they're going through their psychic whatever, he's fine when he's doing the knives, but you're right, the minute he sits at the table with them, it's like the acting 101 hour. He's like trying to deliver a line. He's trying to deliver the line about like, first you call me Stretch, then you call me Stretch whatever, next it's going to be Stretch Mark, but it doesn't land because it's so it's so weirdly rushed.
Right.
It's not his shining moment. He definitely improves as the movie goes along. Like the more that's happening, the better off he is.
To talk about that scene before we move on from that scene, this is where I felt like we only got part of a movie, because he is eating Jell-O for some reason, and he's like, "There's something wrong here. There's something in this Jell-O," and then he gets dizzy and passes out.
Yeah.
It's like, "Are you done?" And then the guy walks up. "Are you done with that?" And
yeah.
I feel like we missed something from point A to point B. Like he passed out.
Well, that's because his Cindi Lauper told him his girlfriend was cheating on him. And so he panics and he passes out. He's like, "No, she would never. No." And then he's like, I think there's something in the Jell-O." And then
but the acting was a bit wooden.
Yeah, but it's so weird. You don't even notice because she's like, I'm trying to say it delicately, but she's doing the bouncy with another guy. And he's like, "What?"
No, can't be. No, definitely not. You're wrong.
Then he somehow, can we segue directly to the scene where he goes to his girlfriend's house, or maybe it's his house? I don't know.
Before we get there.
He takes her underwear off with one hand.
Well, she helped him.
Okay. Well, he just like reaches under and then he pulls her underwear out.
He reaches under and starts helping her, or he reaches under to start, and then she kind of reaches under and helps him.
Oh, okay.
Before that, though, before we get all the way over there, that's why I was confused, because he passed out, and then we end up with the scene where they're outside.
Yeah.
Cindi Lauper's still hitting on Julian Sands.
Mm-hmm.
And
because then he's going to the taxi.
He's directly. We're missing a scene there between point A to point B. Like, collapses on the desk. Now I'm leaving.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite scenes in the movie is the interaction between Julian Sands and Jeff Goldblum at the taxi, where he's got his hand on the thing, and then Jeff Goldblum and just they're just stacking hands.
That added a lot of comedy to the moment.
I hope that was ad-libbed.
Then he shakes his hand through the window. Goldblum points out the fact that somebody's taking his picture, and then he half runs away with his arm still stuck in the window before letting go.
Yeah.
So there was some good comedy there. It just was not with Goldblum and Cindi on the screen together.
Yeah.
But I do personally, after watching this, wonder why she didn't have a much bigger career in acting.
Yeah. I'm with you, because I thought she did a really good job, because she's got to do a couple different accents, and she does a pretty good job at all of them. And she's
that scene when they're together, and he basically is like, "No, you're only here for charity," and this, that, and the other thing, and she's just like, "What do you want me to do here?" And she busts into this weird accent. She's like, "I love you. I won't be able to live without you." Blah, 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 blah. Is that better? I don't remember the whole scene.
Now can we have sex? And she's like, "No, get out of my tent."
It's like, "What happened between you guys? She came in here for sex. I turned her down." And Peter Falk's like, "Oh, really?"
He's very excited.
He's like, "Okay, bye," and he leaves. But
Sylvia,
his hair's in curlers because she just did his hair. Of course, she's a hairstylist.
How badly did I want one of these characters in this film to be called Mickey? Oh, Sylvia. Yes, Mickey. No? Okay, never mind.
Okay, can't get every joke.
It's not a joke. I really did want that. It's not a joke.
It'd be an homage.
All I can think about now when I see Julian Sands is that he died lost in the woods. He had the weirdest death.
No, what didn't die lost in the woods? I thought he died buried under a landslide, like a
Did he land? I know
avalanche.
he went hiking and he disappeared.
There was an avalanche and he disappeared.
Yeah.
Took a while for them to. I think they had to find him when a thing thawed.
Months. Yeah, it took like months to
There
find
had to
him.
be a thaw to be able to find him because he was
Yeah.
buried.
It's just,
Mm.
I don't
He
know.
would
It's weird.
more than likely well preserved.
It's just, it's one of those things. It's like Liam Neeson's wife. What her name was, where she hit a tree skiing, and then she died of like a closed head injury. It's just one of those, like, you don't expect celebrities to die normal people deaths. Like they're gonna,
Oh yeah.
and then
Yeah,
they like
because
go
they get
missing in the
special
woods,
treatment.
and you're like, but he's Julian Sands. Nobody can find him in the woods. I don't get it. Like,
Like they didn't bring more people out for this.
yeah,
Like I would expect to die missing in the woods.
yeah. I
Julian
mean,
Sands goes missing, and there should have been like a whole thing.
yeah,
Right, there's usually so many people watching them.
yeah. It's just weird when they die of like in
It's
odd
like,
ways.
how did you end up by yourself in the woods?
Oh, I guess he liked to hike, like, but I guess he went on that particular trail frequently. I don't know. It was just weird that, like, I just remember he was missing, and he was missing for like a week, and everyone's like, yeah, we're probably just gonna find him dead now. And I was like, oh my god, Julian Sands died hiking? What? I don't. Isn't he a warlock? Can he just not figure that out?
Everybody here is just waiting, like praying for a misery situation. They're going to find him in a cabin with Kathy Bates
Yeah.
somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
No?
Specific, yeah, no, I know that
Specifically
one.
Kathy
Yeah,
Bates, yes.
yeah. Has anyone called Kathy? Have we figured out whether she's her or
Track
not?
her down. Find
Kathy
her.
Bates has also mysteriously gone missing from the show that she was recording.
Oh,
Has
no.
anybody seen her?
Isn't she filming like? Oh, is it Matlock? What is she doing right now? She's.
I think she's doing Matlock right now. She's like the
Yeah.
female version of
Is it like a
Matlock.
reboot?
It would be really
Yeah,
ironic if she was being Columbo, considering we just watched.
We're getting a lot of female like remakes of old like cop and procedural law dramas. Like
I'm
what's
here
her
for
name?
it.
Queen Latifah took over. Like I can't remember the guy's name for the life of me, but the Equalizer.
Yeah.
The original
Oh.
Equalizer was like an older white guy, and she's now the Equalizer.
I'm for this. This is good. Now
I
we
guess
just need to do Murder He Wrote.
in contrast to Murder He Wrote, yeah, I mean they're actually, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're
It's
trying
just
to
Angela
make a Murder
Lansbury
She
in
Wrote
drag.
movie.
Yeah.
No, they're making a Murder She Wrote movie.
Oh,
I
I
don't.
mean, I watched a lot of Murder She Wrote, so I could see that.
I heard the news, and I don't remember the name of the lead at all. I could see like Jamie Lee Curtis, maybe.
I mean, it can be any older woman because Angela Lansbury was, of course, it's like the Golden Girls when we were little and they had the Golden Girls and it was like, oh, these are 3 older women. And you look at how old they're supposed to be and they're in their like their 50s.
Yeah.
We're thinking, oh yeah, they look like they're in their 70s or 80s.
Now you're like, oh my God, they're so old. And you're like, oh, they're not. They're not old at all.
No, they're not very
I
old
think
at
Blanche
all.
is supposed to be like 47 or 48
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but they played much older women in that movie, that TV
No,
show.
I think
too,
that's
though.
how old
No,
they're
that's
supposed
how
to
old
be
the
in the
characters
movie.
were.
Yeah. Or in the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Estelle Getty was definitely not supposed to be.
Oh, she's the older. She's the actual
Yeah.
older lady. Although I think Blanche may actually be lying. I think that might be the running joke. But it doesn't matter. What the point is that these people that we watched, they're like, oh, they're so old. And now you watch it and you're like, what? Wait, are they 40? You put them out to pasture? I don't understand. Like, Angela,
I'm getting
Angela-
close to this age. Don't get any ideas
Yeah.
about pushing me out on an ice floe.
Right.
No, I'm not ready to
No.
be. I'm not ready to be sent out yet. Back to vibes.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a movie that lends itself to a little bit of distraction, I think. I like how blasé they all are about the existence of psychics. Like they have this thing. There's like a bunch of psychics all there together, and they're all like, "Oh, what can you
actual
do?"
psychics.
Yeah.
Right. Like there was a couple of guys they didn't explain what exactly that they did there. They had like 2 or 3 people that they threw in but didn't actually tell you what they did. Like
Yeah.
at that little circle.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
There's
you
one,
had
well, there's the telekinetic guy who wets his pants, and then
Yeah,
there's
and we don't actually know what he did with the thing in the middle of the table.
he
you
moved
actually
it.
you actually
He
moved
just
it.
moved the ashtray.
Yeah, he's telekinetic.
Okay.
He
I didn't
moved it
see-
like
I didn't see the ashtray actually move.
Yeah, it moved because there was a circle where it was sitting, and when it moves, you can see the circle underneath.
Oh, okay.
And that's when
With
he's like, I wet my pants.
an exceptional amount of concentration. Like, he
Yeah.
concentrated so hard that he pissed himself.
Right.
Yeah, I
And
did
then-
like the line later about, I don't only move ashtrays.
Oh, yeah, because he's married to a former Miss Universe.
Yeah.
Because he's married to like a supermodel. And the
Yeah.
guy goes, well, I don't only move ashtrays.
Yeah, but this goes under the assumption that A, she doesn't mind the little guy who has to concentrate real hard and potentially piss on her whenever this happens.
Well, I think it's maybe he has other abilities, but they are not something he can do for the study. It's just supposed to be like I've got a lot more going on than just my telekinesis. And then there's the Swedish guy, Googie. His real name is
Googie,
like
yes.
Googie. Yeah.
Oh, I
Who
liked
has
him.
The magical
Mhm.
disappearing Swedish accent. Like he only has it on a couple of words.
It's like, where did you get your degree from? Oklahoma. Good. If there's a stampede, well, you'll know exactly what to do. He's just a snarky ass, but it worked
Yeah.
well.
He pulls it off, yeah.
Yeah, he's an asshole. It fits.
Yeah, I think Goldblum was really the only person that felt completely out of place in this entire film.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing here. It's literally it felt like he needed to remodel his kitchen or something.
Mm-hmm.
And
It
it
felt like
the check.
I was gonna say it was sort of like Michael Caine in that one Jaws film. It's like, I'm here for the check.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see him, like, I want to see a day in his life where he works at the museum. He can
Right.
touch stuff and figure out what happened. Like, it's history, but he works at a museum. So, how far back can you go?
He was actively avoiding doing that, though.
Right. Yeah.
Because, like, while he could touch those things and kind of provide a little bit of extra information, everybody and his brother was coming around. Here, feel this fish. Tell me if these guys turned back the odometer on my
Yeah.
car, you know? What, you're going to
Literally
feel his
everybody
fish but
knows.
not tell me about my car?
Yeah. Literally everybody knows what he can do. Like, he hasn't kept it a secret at all. And everyone believes he can do it.
This is like Clark Kent, if the first thing
No
that he did when he
skepticism.
walked into the Daily Planet is just whip off his glasses and goes, look, I'm fucking Superman.
Yeah.
So
And everyone's like,
let's just
okay.
get to this.
Cool. Got it. Yeah. And
I
everyone
was
just believes
imagining
him.
like growing up and touching things and seeing what happened and then like being inspired to learn about history and that being like your hyperfixation, and so that's why he ends up the curator at a museum, but he doesn't actually like to touch the things.
It does feel very like he doesn't want to do the things that he can do. So why have you pigeoned yourself into
Right.
a career where you have to touch the things to do what you do?
And then you've also told everybody that you can do these things.
Yeah, and then he
Right.
apparently did it at a Christmas party dressed up as a magician. Because he's like, can you
I-
do the
I
thing
bet
where
he
you
was a
dress
little
up
drunk.
like you did at the Christmas party?
It's like, no, I don't want
He
to
got
do that
too
anymore.
drunk at one
Yeah.
work party, and now he's never living it down.
Peter Falk in
Yeah.
this film. I'm iffy with him. I like him.
Yeah.
I
He's
like him, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
When he gets to be Columbo in other movies, he's fine. When you ask him to do anything else, he's Columbo trying to be other things.
Well, I've seen him in other things where he has done a fantastic job. Like, he doesn't project Columbo and everything.
Like Princess Bride.
He's
Yeah,
Columbo
like
reading a
Princess
book.
Bride. I was mentioning earlier Wings of Desire, which the
Mhm.
movie that preceded the remake City of Angels done by Nicolas Cage, has him in a leading role. And I've always liked that film. It's a really good film, but he literally plays himself in the film. So it's just Peter Falk being Peter Falk.
Yeah.
It's like, here's what we need from you. Come to our movie and be you.
Yeah. This was the most obvious I've seen his fake eye. I know you said it was, but like this is of everything I've seen him in, I can never remember which one. I know he has one that's fake, and it's always hard to tell because he kind of squints or he turns his head. And this was the most like he's face onto the camera acting with his eye, and the one eye is never moving. So
I believe
it was
it's
the
the
most,
left
it's
eye,
his
if I'm not mistaken.
It's his right eye.
Is it the right eye?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I guess he lost it when
Maybe
he
I'm
was
looking
3.
at it differently.
So he's had it His right eye. So left on the screen, I guess. But yeah. I knew he had one, but like in The Princess Bride, he always squints, like he'll lean forward and squint that eye closed, so you can't always tell. But he didn't squint. He didn't do his like eye closing thing that he normally does. And then he didn't do the thing where he turns his head so you can't see it. Normally he plays around it. He didn't. I thought that was really interesting.
I think Peter Falk has the least convincing death in the entire film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Getting
Outside-
stabbed in the back.
I do appreciate the last bit of commentary. By the way, that $50,000 that I gave you, don't spend it. It's counterfeit. Basically, paid psychics in counterfeit money. First of all,
should have let Jeff Goldblum hold it.
how did Jeff not know about that? Well, of course he didn't actually see the money. He got dragged into it by Sylvia after the fact.
He saw it, but he never touched it.
Right. He's like, I just wanted the money. And in the end, we forget all about how there's supposed to be money. Like the golden room. We never come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Or the opening scene, not the opening scene, but the first scene between Sylvia and Harry, where she greets him with the shotgun. It's like, where did you get a shotgun? Well, it's a former boyfriend's shotgun. Why does your former boyfriend have a shotgun? He goes, well, it's with a guy named Ice Pick. You don't really ask a lot of questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Why were you dating a guy named Ice Pick? I mean,
she had a history of dating losers. Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi. I liked it when
surprise Steve Buscemi for like 3 minutes.
Yeah. I like when Jeff makes a comment about her dresses. And he's like, do you have any that don't that are not that low cut? And she's like,
above mid bosom.
Oh no,
she's like,
above mid bosom.
If Macy's wants to sell something, they got to put it in the front window.
That's fair. Well, do you expect guys to like you for more than just your body and just without a skip? Just no. Not expecting that at all.
She's a weirdly sympathetic character in this otherwise just comedy trash movie where she's like she goes to see Steve Buscemi and he's like, come on, I'm changed. I just want to I want to be with you. Can you just tell me who the winning horse is? And then he's counting all of his money and he's like, see you later. And he leaves with his girlfriend.
She's like, he goes, no hard feelings. She goes, no feelings at all.
Yeah. And then she's like, I guess, come on, Louise, let's go get a drink. And she's just this kind of sad character where she just is terrible taste in men.
Well, she's a sympathetic character that doesn't want your sympathy.
Right.
At all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she's perfectly fine with how things are going. She's just kind of, hey, this is my lot in life. Whatever. I'll just keep moving on.
I do like how she picks up a rich guy in Ecuador where she's like, nuh-uh, yeah, huh, nuh-uh, yeah, huh. And then she's like, can you guys settle a debate for me? In the Rolls Royce, the minibar, does it open to the left or the right? And the one guy's like, oh, I know. And she's like, great, I'll see you tonight. Like,
I'll only wait for an hour and a half. I like how and immediately outs him as Ziggy.
Yes.
Her brother, who... When the guy shows back up, she's sitting on his lap, kissing him.
Yeah, making out with him.
I like how
expecting a comment from him about how close she is to her brother, but we didn't get it.
Mm-mm.
I do appreciate that he goes directly to the bar afterwards and uses the name Ziggy to try to. He was being picked up, not the other way around, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. She was trying to pick him up to kill him.
Yeah.
So, obviously, another hooligan hired by Julian Sands' character to try to take them out before they get to the Lost City.
Yeah. Yeah.
How'd you feel about the ending to the movie?
What? I don't even remember.
I don't know where I was going. I have no idea where I was going with that.
The movie ending was like, okay, we forgot it was supposed to be a room full of gold. Now it's just a giant glowing pyramid.
She talks about the room of gold.
I love when they get to.
She uses the phrase "room of gold."
Okay, well they get to that cliff and they're like looking off into the fog and they're like, God damn it, we don't know where it is. And then they turn around and there's just a door and they're like, oh, I think it's through there.
From what I gathered, this device or whatever was something that the Incas were supposed to use as a part of like psychic warfare.
Yeah.
And the only way to actually see and or visit this room of gold is through psychic means. So that's why when she touched things or tried to save him from that, she had seen it.
Yeah.
Shortly before her psychic medium shuffled herself off this.
Yeah, she mentions when Louisa intervened on her behalf that it was all a room of gold.
Right.
Mm.
And so, like, the psychic space
But it's
with
not
all that
actual
energy.
gold.
Right. It was
It's
just
gold light.
perceptually a room of gold,
Got it.
psychic energy.
Yeah, see, I missed that. There was too much happening. I did like the line where Jeff Goldblum has the machine gun, and she's like, "Wow, you look really intimidating right now." And he's like, "Anyone holding a machine gun looks intimidating."
I mean, yes.
Yeah, that's how that works. Yep.
I absolutely hated the last scene of the movie.
When they
I
look
do
at
not
the,
like.
they look at this, they break the fourth wall, and they're like, "Harry?"
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The fourth wall break. So,
Yeah.
first of all, how weird is it that Harry ends up in her head?
Yeah.
I mean, I called it before she said it.
Yeah, Matt was like, "Oh, it's Harry."
The
I was
fact
like,
that
yeah.
Harry, the guy that tried to sleep with her during the film, ended up in her head.
Yeah.
The guy that tried to con her.
That did con her.
That did con her, yeah.
Makes me feel like this would have been fantastic just to have a sequel based off of that fact, because they're basically, I wouldn't say in love, but there's
They had a
definitely
spark.
chemistry, a little bit of heat
Mhm.
between
There was
them.
more chemistry between Peter Falk and
Cindi Lauper.
Cindi Lauper than
And
they could at least
Kinky
between
act
them than there was between Cindi Lauper and Jeff Goldblum.
they could act across from each other. It did.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum, I really felt like he was intimidated by her or bothered by her in some way
Yeah.
the entire
Maybe
film.
Peter Falk just stayed on her left side,
couldn't
and so
even
that was
see
like the blank side.
Just
of
pretended she
his
wasn't
vision.
there. She does such a good job, though. But you know,
Yeah.
this is her. This is like the '80s Cyndi Lauper. So she's
Just-
like, this is like having a.
She's hot shit.
Just
I can't
sitting.
even.
Just,
I was trying to think of somebody who's popular right now, and nothing came to my mind. I was like, it's like being with Beyonce. It'd be like having
just-
Beyonce in your movie, and
Yeah.
you
just
having
here's
to
what
be
here's
like,
what you need to do, doll. We're gonna sit you over here, and this is my blind side, but on top of that, it's also kind of partially my deaf side. So if you can just stand over here, we're gonna be just fine.
Maybe Jeff Goldblum was just mad because it's not Gina Davis.
Mm.
'Cause
Well, I
he's
mean,
in
she
Gina-
was.
He and Gina Davis are in like 4 movies together in the 80s.
So they were dating. We were watching The Fly. They were dating while they were filming The Fly. Like that, he recommended her for the role because they were dating.
Mm-hmm.
But then by 1988, they were broken up.
Right, but she's still with
And
him
so
in
I
Earth
wonder-
Girls Are Easy. She's still with him in, I
Right.
think she's in Transylvania 65000.
Yeah.
She is.
Yeah.
She plays like the vampire in
Yeah.
that film.
But the trivia mentioned something that happened in 1988 or 1989, and her then husband, somebody else, starts with an R, I think. But maybe he was just missing Gina.
I know. He was like, this should be Gina. I can't act in a movie without her right now.
Maybe there was just so much chemistry between the two of them when he finally had to figure out how to act across from some other female. It wouldn't have mattered
Yeah.
who it was.
Mm-hmm.
He was just disgruntled, like Gina's not here anymore. What the hell's the point?
Is Jeff Goldblum a good actor? I think this is a question.
That's a controversial question,
we need
Rachel.
to pose to ourselves, because to me, he's a little bit like Christopher Walken, where he's Christopher Walken in
Mhm.
everything.
Oh.
And there's a couple movies where he's not Christopher Walken. He's Christopher Walken as someone else. But
I'm
A
going
thin
to say
veneer.
this because I was going to say something far more offensive than that. You said Christopher Walken, and I'm like, I've seen Christopher Walken in a lot of movies, and even Christopher Walken being Christopher Walken is so much more elevated than a lot of Jeff Goldblum stuff. So I was thinking, Jeff Goldblum was like the early 80s version of Pauly Shore.
yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
he was the one trick pony that he had that comedic timing in a lot of films. and he made it through quite a few things, and then it just sort of fell off for a little while until he reinvented himself just a little bit. Kind of
Yeah.
did the quirky, cool thing in Jurassic Park, did the geeky, cool thing in Independence Day. So he was just
But
sort
he's
of
still
Jeff
he's always
Goldblum, but a
the
little cooler.
yeah, he's always Jeff Goldblum. He's just
Yeah.
got Jeff Goldblum in different roles. Like the most serious thing I've ever seen him in is The Fly.
Right.
And even then he's still like nerdy Jeff Goldblum.
Everything that I've seen him in, he's only been him.
Yeah, he's only ever
He
him.
has-
So
it-
he's only as good as the role he's in and whether or not it fits.
Yeah, how well that
him.
role was written
It
for
Yeah.
him.
wasn't until like mid-90s that he was like, you know what? No matter what I do, I'm just going to be me, so I might as well lean into it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when he does try, like I think he's trying at the beginning of Vibes, and I think that's why it's not working. I think that's why you're like, Jeff, what are you doing? I think he's fine. I'll watch anything with Jeff Goldblum in it, clearly, because I watched like 5 Jeff Goldblum movies this week. But he's not good. Like he's just not. He's not. I mean, I think we just need to realize as a society that we like Jeff for things other than his acting. Like in Earth Girls Are Easy, is he a good actor? No. Does he get oiled up and walk shirtless out of a tanning bed? Yes. Yes, he does. And so why do I watch the movie? Well, it's not
And
for
he
the
does
acting.
it so charismatically.
I know. And he goes,
Shirtlessly
"Good."
charismatic.
Yeah,
Yes.
shirtlessly. Yeah, he definitely traded on weirdly because, well, Jeff Goldblum is one of those people like Charlize Theron. Like Charlize Theron is beautiful, but when you want to ugly up Charlize Theron, it's not that big of a step. Like
No.
she's beautiful, but then like in Monster, she's just not Charlize Theron. And
Mhm.
Jeff Goldblum's the same way. If you put him in the right makeup and the right hairstyle, thank you. Yes, perfect. And if you don't,
Actually, I will have to say one thing. You had to put a lot of makeup on him in The Fly to make him ugly.
right,
You
but
really did. You had to really put some stuff on him.
But if you think about him at the beginning of the movie, when he's like buttoned up, he's wearing the same outfit every single day. He has kind of the long brushed hair. He's
Mhm.
not, he definitely hits like he goes
A
up
different
and then
vibe,
back
yeah.
down again. So like
I mean,
at
he
the
wasn't
very
ugly.
beginning, no, he's not ugly. He's not ugly, but he's not like, how do I want to
He's
phrase
not
it?
as styled.
He's not the like effortlessly the heartthrob of the movie.
Mhm.
So it's a weird little niche that he's carved out for himself. Kind of like how Bill Murray will get cast as the sex symbol in a movie or like the love interest in a movie.
Yeah, that's always
Like
tough for me.
Like in
That's
Groundhog's
really
Day.
tough for me.
And you're
Yeah.
always like,
Yeah.
"Are-
I never believed it.
why
How-
though?
Right?
Like, wait a minute.
You need to provide a little bit more explanation than, for some reason I love this asshole.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's an odd little niche that like for some reason, or when Jack Black gets cast as the love interest, like he's got quite a few of his earlier movies where he's like the love interest in the movie, and you're like, I mean,
You know what one bothers me? Whenever they have Kevin James as the love interest anywhere.
yeah, you just,
That one always bothered me a little bit.
I mean, there's some actors like you get it. You're like, okay, there's not a you. Brad Pitt is never going to be ugly in a movie. You're never going to
Right.
convince Brad Pitt to be the ugly guy in a movie. It's fine. You just believe that he's the hot guy in every movie. It's okay. Jeff Goldblum is not always the hot guy in the movie.
Okay.
And yet
Now
he
I'm
gets-
determined. There's got to be something out there where Brad Pitt played the ugly guy.
Well, I mean,
It's gotta
maybe
be.
the
It's ringing a
Benjamin
bell.
Button.
I think there's one movie where he's wearing some prosthetics. It's not Benjamin Button. It's another one. But he's got some makeup or something to make him less pretty.
Okay, well, you find it, you let me know. But
I mean, he wasn't
Anyway.
necessarily particularly attractive as the stoner roommate in True Romance.
oh,
He had a bit role in that film where he just kind of played this kind of greasy stoner roommate smoking out of a honey teddy bear bong.
okay.
That wants some man. Yeah, he was just a weird stoner in that film, and like that's probably the most unattractive I've seen him in
Yeah.
anything.
It kind of reminds me of oh my god, the actor's name just everything that I was about to say left me. So we will have to return to this statement later.
We
'Cause I don't
scrubbed your
remember.
mental state
It
with
just
Brad
went,
Pitt.
yeah, the bong, it just went just out of my mind. I had a very good analogy to draw. And now I don't know what it was.
I need some answers from this film though. There's a couple of scenes where they just didn't provide me enough of an answer, and they moved on to the next thing.
Yeah, the whole
Like,
movie, you mean?
the whole, well, technically, the Jello scene, the lady who basically got up. Did she get pushed out the window, or did he kick her out the window, or
She runs at him and he like sidesteps and she keeps running
Oh,
and
yeah.
she ends up jumping like
Falling over
Falling out the
momentum
window?
carries her over the side. Yeah.
So the woman that tried to kill him and then she disappeared,
Yeah.
never to be seen. So she wasn't dead, obviously,
the...
or somebody cleaned her up real damn quick. And what did
Yes.
they do?
I think they were watching her room to see what she did to
Jeff Goldblum.
get. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember his name in the movie at all. But I love when she gives him the aphrodisiac and he's like, "This is from New Jersey."
Yeah, oh yeah, and it's PCP.
This is
And
PCP. It was made in a garage.
This is PCP. I think they sold you the wrong pill. And she's like, "Oh my god."
So, the rest of Julian Sand's group is psychic. Is this lady supposed to be psychic?
Not Carl. Carl's not psychic. Although I do like the Carl's
Oh,
necklace
yeah.
that just says Carl on
That's
it.
cool. So it's just the Swedish guy,
Yeah, just Googie.
Googie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I do like when they're in the hospital and Cindi Lauper starts singing the Swedish lullaby song.
That's
It is
worked
Mama.
really well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mama? And then they have to pick her up and carry her out while she's still singing.
yeah, because she's
Yeah.
stuck.
She's the
channeling
better
spirit.
she's
Oh,
the best
'cause-
actor in this movie.
Mhm.
Her psychic guide is making her go through the entire song.
Yeah.
We're not gonna stop till we're done and we're out of here. I did realize as we're talking now that Cindi Lauper basically had chemistry with every single guy in that film except Jeff Goldblum.
Except Jeff Goldblum.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like everybody. She had chemistry with Julian Sands. She kind of had chemistry with Googie.
Yeah.
She definitely had chemistry with Peter Falk, the guy
Yeah.
that she was talking about the prince or it wasn't the prince.
An ambassador.
The
ambassador
ambassador.
guy.
Why did I think prince?
He's giving her a necklace. Jeff Goldblum punches him.
He's gonna choke you with this actually really nice looking pearl necklace.
She's like, I had him eating out of my hand. See, there's still cantaloupe.
Why did you think that he was gonna kill me? Oh, because somebody else just tried to kill me.
Even her line delivery is great in this. Like
Mhm.
she has the funniest timing. She has the most interesting character. You think Cindi Lauper is going to be the throwaway character in this, and she's absolutely
No.
not. Not at all. This movie doesn't work without her.
Mm-mm.
And then he gets that little piece of stone from that guy. And he wanders off with it. Like, for some reason, we're to believe he's compelled by it. And then it floats off into the mist,
All by itself. Yeah.
which isn't even the direction of the city.
Now I kind of want Earth Girls Are Easy, but with Cindi Lauper. Not
Oh,
as
yeah.
Gina Davis's character.
No, as the lady
As
who
the
works
other-
at Curl Up and Die.
Julie Brown's character.
Yeah.
That always
'Cause I'm a
confused
blonde.
me.
Do, do, do.
Because
Yeah.
Julie Brown and Downtown Julie Brown were both very big on MTV for a while. They both had their own things. One was like a VJ, and then the other, and she was just sort of like a comedy act that ran through everything.
Yeah. Sit down, have a mental margarita.
She's a very Cindi Lauper coded character. though.
Yeah, she is. She's like she was the Renta Cindi Lauper. She was like the don't have it in the budget. We've already got Jeff Goldblum, we've already got Damon Wayans, and we've already got Jim Carrey, so we can't afford Cindi Lauper.
Mhm.
So, this movie, the Rotten Tomatoes score on this film was 13% for the
I see
critics.
that. Mhm.
It was around a 65% for
Okay.
audience score.
Yeah, because it's enjoyable, but it's not a good movie.
Yeah,
It's kind of like Jupiter
I
Ascending.
was
It's the worst
surprised
best
how
movie.
enjoyable the movie was.
Yeah.
How would you guys rate the movie?
On rewatchability or on enjoyability? Because I really enjoyed it, but I can't say I would sit down and go, wow, I want to sit and solely focus on this movie.
Well, like any movie, it should be right down in the middle. You take your thoughts about rewatchability, and you take your thoughts about just having watched the film. You know,
Yeah.
did you enjoy the film? Would you watch it again? And then
I would watch it, like I'd put it on while I was cooking. Like I'd put it on while I was doing something. I don't know that I would just sit, because there's definitely some points in the middle where it drags. Like Peter Falk's character strings them along for a really long time. Like
Yeah.
they take the bus out to that city, and Jeff Goldblum ends up wandering around with the shirt for like 15 minutes before he's like, this isn't your son's shirt. This is another guy's shirt. And then they end up having to go back to the hotel. And then we redo that whole thing where they go back to the city again.
Mm-hmm.
And that part drags a little bit. And then when we finally get on the camping trip, like we finally go see the guy in the hospital, we finally get the stone, we finally go on the camping trip, that's when it picks up. So there's definitely a period in the middle where you could get up and fold some laundry and then come back and finish the movie. And I think I would give this probably like a 6 or a 7.
Yeah, I'd say 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
okay.
Because I'm not mad I watched it, and I'd watch it again. I just don't know that I would be like, dang, I really want to watch that again right now.
Thank you for saying 7 out of 10, by the way, because I'm sitting here going by like the Rotten Tomatoes score rating. So it's like 13%, 64%, and she said 6,
So
maybe
70,
a 7.
70. Adjusted for inflation.
It's like, so I really like this movie, so fuck it. It was horrible. Yeah.
6 out of 100.
It's a 6
Hey,
out of
we
100.
watched Highlander 2, which I think has a 2% on Rotten Tomatoes.
You know, I've watched some things that have gotten like a dead 0, like critics rating, and I thought they were pretty decent movies. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and
I have shit taste in movies. I know that, and it's fine.
I've got to look it up, but I think that Garbage Pail Kids does not have a dead 0 on there.
That's horrific. Somebody
That's
watched that and
terrible.
was like, well, it
Hey.
wasn't
It's
that
not
bad.
the worst thing ever.
It was the horror
Even
murder
when it
children were
literally
not
is.
that terrible.
I think I personally would put this at, if we're going by out of 10, I'd probably give this about a 6.5 to a 7.
That's fair. Yeah, I think we're right in line there.
This being my first watch of it, and then subsequently watching it several more times, I wasn't disappointed in watching it several more times. I
No.
was not as engaged with those other moments. You know, it was just sort of, okay, we'll play it in the background while I'm doing this, or
See, that's what I'm talking about.
play it at
But-
work while I'm shoveling snow, you know.
Yeah, and you're 100% there for Cindi Lauper. Like, I'm 100% there for Cindy. I don't think I would watch it again for Jeff. Some movies I'll watch just for Jeff, but I don't think this is
I'd
one
watch
of
it for Cindy, Sands, and Falk.
Yeah, that's fair.
Jeff, I honestly was really disappointed in, because I kind of like him in some of the other roles that I've seen him in.
He's not bad. He's just got to be in the right. It's kind of like when you're a manager and there's 3 different types of employees. The ones that'll work hard no matter what, the ones that'll work hard when they're managed correctly, and the ones that won't work hard no matter what you do. And he's the middle. Like, he needs a good director, he needs a good role, he needs good people to work with. He needs the perfect
He's
setting.
the kind of guy that needs to be the lead. It's not that he doesn't want to be like on even ground with you. It's sort of like he throws something at you, you throw it back. He throws something at you, you throw it back. It's not like even back and forth. I think that like
Right.
he needs to lead the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody else is sort of outshining him in a scene, he just throws him.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
you have to be on even keel or allowing him to lead.
Right. Or he needs to be completely just himself, like in Thor, which is the one he's in, Thor Ragnarok.
He's in Thor Ragnarok, and I think like a
Yeah.
couple of others like short performances in
Yeah. So he's that guy who's like
Guardians
he's
of the
himself.
Galaxy.
Yeah.
He's just himself, like the guy, the maybe immortal guy, ruler of a planet dude. Like it's just
That's right.
Jeff
The Collector.
Goldblum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
the collector.
Collector,
So
yeah.
he's fine in that, even though he's just a bit part, because he gets to just be himself. So he showed up. They paid him in like craft services ham and like a check, and then he went home, and that's fine with him. And I think that works. But when he's a main character in a movie, he's got to be the main character. I think you're right, which is probably why he's not been the main character in a movie in a really long time.
Well, I think that's how he was back then.
Yeah, well now
Like,
he's just playing himself. Like he's transitioned to his Christopher Walken era where you hire him when you want Christopher Walken in your movie.
Mm-hmm.
you
You
know, we
hire him
need
when you want.
somebody that's kind of like Jeff Goldblum. Why not Jeff Goldblum?
Yeah, I'll just get to if he's not doing an apartments.com commercial, he's probably free, so
Yeah,
it's fine.
Pretty much. Like, I feel like he's not even doing commercials. It's just like when people bring up the website, he's just there.
And then he was the food judge. He was like a judge on that food show where they made tiny food. Did you ever see that?
No, I haven't seen that. Now I'm gonna have to go find
They
that.
made like you know how people do the tiny cooking on YouTube, and they do
Yes.
they cook on the tiny stoves, and they like literally had a cooking competition where these people had a miniature kitchen and they had to prepare food in the miniature kitchen, and then they had taste tests of the miniature food, and so they're all picking up these like itty bitty little burgers, and they have to eat it, and they're like, it's like a really complex flavor, you know, but it's like the tiniest morsel, and they're like, anyway, it's worth
And Jeff
watching.
Goldblum's also, not a short guy, so
No, he's 6'4.5".
fairly tall guy with itty bitty food.
Yeah, itty bitty food. I don't know how long it lasted. I watched like 2 episodes and I was like, this is so fucking ridiculous. Like, I love it, but I just can't. Like, I can't spend my time.
I am
watching
going to
this
have to go find Jeff Goldblum handling tiny food.
stuff. Yeah, go
I'm
do it.
definitely gonna have to go find that.
Especially with those hand gestures.
Yes, the way he points, his like Jeff Goldblum hands.
Yep.
So are we moving into the next film?
If you're ready, how long was that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like
I mean,
I'm just
what did they do? Like, what did they do? What happens in the sequel? Right? Does Cindi Lauper go?
Hold on,
And
there's
like,
a sequel?
no,
No, I mean,
Oh.
no, in the proposed sequel, because when she touches that pyramid, it ends up exposing even more. There's yet more pyramid.
Right, yeah, I
like,
want to know what happens to the pyramid,
Is
because
there
Julian
pyramids?
Sands still knows where the pyramid is now,
Well,
and he
then-
doesn't die at the end.
Yeah.
And Cindi Lauper and Jeff Goldblum just leave. Did Louise like seal it up or something?
I know, because the hidden city is right there.
The lost city is found.
Jeff Goldblum's an archaeologist. He could conceivably be like, "Hey guys, I found a lost city."
A new expedition.
He could be on Discovery. Like he could be a National Geographic.
apparently my light is on a timer. It just decided to click out on me for a
No, I
moment.
figured you were done. You were just like, you guys talk
For
about the
those of
sequel.
you that are
I don't want to be here.
For those of you just listening to the audio of this, you have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. Go over to YouTube. Go over there.
I think that the sequel could be interesting.
I think the sequel would be fun. I would hope that at that point Jeff would have gotten over himself a little bit and could act in a scene with her without too much
or they've
trouble.
broken up in the interim and he doesn't come back.
Mm-hmm.
And she's with Harry's ghost romantically.
I say, well, if we're doing a direct sequel, if you want to do it within a couple of years of the original film, fine. If you're doing a sequel now, though, how would that work?
The reboot of Vibes. Who's in the reboot of Vibes? Right?
No, not even a reboot, but the successors. Like, you get Jeff Goldblum to come back as DZ.
Yeah, you could probably get Cindi Lauper too.
Yeah, and have them be like the sage mentors, whatever, who pick out the new young heroes.
Yeah.
They couldn't tolerate. Let's have them not like each other in this film, though, because if they didn't like working with each other the first time, just lean into it.
Yeah, they had a falling out. They've hated each other for years.
And so the new main character has to keep bouncing between them, passing messages.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jeff...
and they're just in adjacent rooms in an apartment. But they won't talk to each other.
Right.
Well, you tell him.
They're just doing the whole Lucy thing where they've just divided the apartment with a yellow line. He lives on one side, she lives on the other.
Yeah.
I feel like the entire time since they've broken up, just based off of the kind of character DZ was in the original film, he was so obsessed with trying to find these other pyramids or a connection back to that original psychic connection that he got with the I don't know what kind of stone it was, what kind of pyramid that was. They didn't really provide a lot of extra information.
A glowing one? I believe is the
Oh, yeah,
technical
glowing
term. Yeah, the
pyramid.
glowing pyramid.
It was a hub for psychic energy that the Incas
Yeah.
used for
Matt kept going,
ley
they left the
lines.
light on. They left the light on.
But
Yeah,
I want
I
to
don't
say,
know.
like, they bring it back to just him being obsessed with it and him being lost out in that world trying to find it. And Harry's constantly nagging Cindi Lauper to go find him.
Yeah. So they have to go on a quest to
So
find
the
Jeff Goldblum.
90% of the film, you don't have Jeff Goldblum.
Right, he's just in the end. Yeah.
It's just Cindy trying to find him.
I think
I
that
don't
would
know.
work. Yeah, and then he just gets to come out in the end and do his like Jeff Goldblum routine. And then
You gotta get what's his name? Kevin, is it Kevin Pollock? Kevin Pollock does a really good
Jeff
uh,
Goldblum.
not a Jeff Goldblum, a good Peter Falk.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He could do the voice because you could hear Harry's voice but not see Harry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because he's dead. So we never heard Louisa. So technically, Peter Falk could reprise his role.
Kevin Pollock playing Peter Falk, but yeah.
With no lines.
Yeah. Be like casting Alan Tudyk to be Hey Hey. Just a
What do you
chicken.
need me here for? Because, like, technically they can't hear me. It's like, well,
Fine.
what we need you to do
We need you
is
to
Cindy
be in
says
the
she
room.
needs it for her process. You need
Yes.
to talk to her like Peter Falk. It's like, so I'm just going to be sitting here talking. No, you got to stand behind her the entire time.
Yeah.
Every scene, you're standing behind her talking like Peter Falk. Well, aren't they going to see me? No, we're going to dress you in this little green outfit, and then we'll just cut you out in post.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere we see a little green, oh, that's Kevin. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
I like it.
So you're paying me to be the voice in Cindi Lauper's head the entire film. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
As long as you're making money, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that movie Underwater with Kristen Stewart.
Is
they're
Googie
saying-
still alive? Is Googie still alive? Can we bring him back?
No, Googie died, I'm pretty sure.
Googie died?
Yeah, oh, we can still bring him back. It's fine. I mean, Cindi Lauper's a medium. We can bring anybody back. It's fine.
Cindi Lauper's got like 30 voices in her head. She keeps knocking her head on things. New people pop up. She's got all sorts of things going on up there.
Yeah, it's just her. It's like a one-woman show. No one else is in the movie. It's just her talking to disembodied voices the entire time.
I've been very accident prone. I've got a lot of voices in my head now. Every time I bump my head on something, somebody else pops up.
Right. Yeah, we could do that. We can make it work. Yeah.
Just try. Is there anything else that you could really do with a sequel?
No.
We like wrote Jeff Goldblum out of most of the movie. Jeff, you get
out.
3 lines.
Except Cindi Lauper. That's just it. It's just Cindi Lauper.
Oh, his
and it's
real
a
name is
musical.
Francis.
And it's a musical. Like, it's just for no reason at all. It's an 80s musical.
Whose real name is Francis?
Googie. He's still alive. Oh, wait, no. His spouse is still. I don't see a death date or anything.
His spouse is still alive, but we don't know where he is. So he might be still alive.
Yeah,
just not acting anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He's just not doing a lot anymore.
2021.
Okay, well we could try to bring him back.
Googie
The ghost
Grass.
of.
Oh, he's got one thing upcoming.
Oh, really?
It's completed. Road to Everywhere. Anyway.
Googie's still acting. Good for him. I haven't seen another thing that he's been in, but I wonder if there's
he
anything
was in
else.
an episode of NCIS as a bartender. Excuse you.
I don't watch NCIS.
No, me neither.
Not anymore.
Oh, NCSI.
I was gonna say I've never. I've seen CSI.
Oh, he was in an episode of Pushing Daisies.
Oh,
so he's done a lot of bit work.
Yeah. Like a lot of them go on to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I recognize you from somewhere, and it turns out this person's been everywhere. It's just the reason you recognize him is he
He's a
pops
bad
up in
guy.
bit things.
Like John Kapelos, who's in this. He's
Yeah,
got
but
2
John,
scenes.
John's been in memorable scenes. I don't
Yes.
remember Googie from anything.
Yeah, you just and nothing, but also everything. But John,
Look.
you remember him in stuff he's not even been in.
Me being who I am right now, Carl the janitor's got a special place.
I mean, I love John Kapelos. He's his one thing that he's in consistently is Forever Night. So I have to love John Kapelos.
I have to watch more of that. I've seen a couple episodes. I haven't gotten into it because by the time I started watching it, life just kind of turned upside down, and I've been doing all sorts of stuff. So
Yeah. He's also in Shape of Water, and the guy who plays LaCroix, Nigel Bennett, is in Shape of Water.
No.
And then the car that the guy buys in Shape of Water is the exact same car that they drive in Forever Night. And in the book, there's like 2 or 3 paragraphs where they describe the car. And the guy's like, it's green. And he's like, no, 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 it's teal. And he has this whole thing about the car. And I'm like, he's a Forever Night fan. Guillermo del Toro is a Forever Night fan. So we actually interviewed John Kapelos, and I asked him, I was like, do you think Guillermo del Toro is a Forever Night fan? And he was like, what? What are you talking about? And then we actually interviewed Nigel Bennett too, and his wife. And I was like, I'm pretty sure he's a Forever Night fan. And she was like, you know what? If I get the opportunity, I'm going to ask him. And I was like, please do. I need to know.
Or somehow The Shape of Water is secretly in the same universe.
It could be. It could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, his little homage or whatever. It's like, oh, I'm gonna kind of mention this stuff over here. Maybe they'll make some ties between point A and point B.
He invited Nigel Bennett to be on it. Nigel Bennett didn't have to audition. He didn't audition for it. Guillermo del Toro contacted him. I was like, you want to be in this movie?
It's like, I've got a place for you right here.
So I was like, because he's in The Strain, which Guillermo del Toro also directs. So he was like, I think it's because I was in The Strain. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's because you were in Forever Night. He's a Forever Night fan. My head came.
Certain directors also have like actors that they love working with. So they write parts and they're looking at them and they're like, you know, this part would be perfect for this other guy that I already worked with. You know, this is why Tim Burton, for some reason, can't shake Johnny Depp worth the fucking life of him.
That's who I was going to talk about. Johnny Depp, when it left my mind. Who else do we always think of as a good actor who isn't actually a good actor? And it's Johnny Depp.
Nick Cage.
Well, Nick Cage, yeah. There's quite a few mediocre white man actors. Just kind of goes.
That was probably the most torturous episode that I've done for this podcast. And I did too much work while everybody else fucking phoned it in, and it pissed me off so bad. They're like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a week and we're going to do an episode just specifically on Nick Cage.
Okay.
And everybody just go watch as many Nick Cage films as you can. And I literally wrote down his entire catalog and watched something like 30 films with him in it.
In a week?
In a week.
And you didn't die?
Like, I binged a bunch on the weekends.
Wow.
Wasn't just a week. I had from like Saturday till the following Sunday. So I had 3 full weekend days to binge some stuff. And then, you know, during the week, it was just a lot. And I think it was a vacation week that I decided to do this on, because I know that we did the Johnny Depp episode too, and we took a couple of weeks before we set that one up. But like Cage, I binged like 30 freaking movies in a week, and it was a lot of Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
And we got on there, and I'm mentioning things that they had never even heard of. They're like, did you know that like back in the 80s, Crispin Glover and Nicolas Cage tried to, or were starring in sort of a teen sketch show that never even got off the ground. And basically, Crispin Glover was sort of the cool guy, and Nick Cage played sort of the dumb jock in the.
I can see that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there was some truly hilarious things to watch in retrospect, but I can see how it would never have gotten off the ground. There's one episode of the show that ever saw the light of day. And it's somewhere on YouTube. I'll find it and I'll send it to you guys. It was, there's a whole scene in the supermarket where they start playing music with everything around them. And it's just, I think I can remember like Nicolas Cage playing a comb.
Okay.
Just staring at the guy behind the counter. Just.
I love him in Willy's Wonderland.
Everybody loves him in Willy's Wonderland because he didn't speak.
To Mandy.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't speak one line in that entire film.
In my head, it's the sequel to Mandy, and so I love Mandy. So
I have to watch Mandy.
So
that's the one movie.
You have to watch Mandy.
Yeah,
there was a handful that I did not get to watch. That was one of them.
Ripped my shirt.
Colorado Space that I need to watch. That's supposed to be a fairly...
Vampire's Kiss, where that GIF comes from that everybody uses.
That I've seen.
Yeah.
That one I've seen. It's not great.
No.
But that one I've seen.
It's not great at all.
He redeemed himself as far as I'm concerned in Renfield. Playing
Renfield.
I liked Renfield because...
I liked Renfield. I do not like Awkwafina.
I sat and watched that film with my son. And all of a sudden I hear out of left field, wow, Nick Cage is a sassy bitch in this.
He's good in it, and I always like the guy who played Renfield.
He was also
played Nick Holt, who also played in Warm
in
Bodies.
The Menu.
But you want to put Nick Holt with Awkwafina? Are you fucking serious right now? Nicholas Holt, who could probably you could convincingly tell me he was going to be anything in a movie, and I'd be like, yeah, okay, cool. No, I believe that. It's fine.
We'll watch it.
I'll watch it. And then you put him with Awkwafina, and I'm supposed to believe Awkwafina's a good actress? Opposite Nick Holt?
No.
No.
I will give you that I really didn't like Awkwafina in that film at all.
It's terrible. She's terrible.
And as his love interest, basically, which also was a little...
You want to talk about two people who had no chemistry whatsoever.
Nick, I mean, I get that you were basically a ghoul for this guy for the longest time, but no.
No.
You can elevate your expectations a little bit. Anyway,
that's
thank you.
A good place to end it.
Yeah, that's a great place to end that. Just bashing Awkwafina.
Yeah, that's a good place to end anything.
Why don't you go ahead and tell our listeners where they can find you?
All right. Well, we are at strangeandbeautiful.network, where you can find all of our podcasts. We're on, I think, episode 8 of Babylon 5 for We Are All Kosh. And yeah, we have our whole Forever Night podcast. So if you like me talking about Forever Night, I've done it for like hundreds of hours. You can go listen to me do that.
Mm-hmm.
Episode by episode.
Episode by episode. You can find all that at strangeandbeautiful.network.
And of course, for us, you can find us on, pretty much wherever you can listen to your podcast, Spotify, Good Pods, so on and so forth. And also, of course, on YouTube. And I'm going to try this out because I don't want to end it like Nico does. And somebody gave me something to say, and it's been going over in my head. And it doesn't sound right. I can't say it. No matter how much it's okay, I can't. Yeah, fine. Keep it groovy, baby. Yeah, doesn't come out of my mouth. Nope. It sounds worse than drink some water, you thirsty bitches.
Keep it groovy, baby.
I
feel like it needs to be
keep
related
it groovy,
to
baby.
Anarchy.
It has to be
time when we meet for our anarchist cinematic podcast.
It has to be something that has to do with cinematic anarchy. But somebody gave it to me.
How about punch a cinematic fascist?
Punch a cinematic fascist. I'm trying not to get too political. I really am, because I really want to.
I really don't think punching a fascist is a controversial political statement.
It isn't, because depending upon you'll find fascists on both sides, just depending upon your point of view, whether or not you're actually looking at a fascist or what you think a fascist is, without actually looking up the definition in a dictionary or knowing what an actual fascist is.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm not. I don't like keep it groovy, baby. I did that for you, John. You better fucking listen to this episode, because that was the most ridiculous thing that I've ever said. Keep it groovy, baby. That doesn't sound right coming out of my mouth. No. Drink some water, you thirsty bitches. Thank you, Nicole. Goodbye.
Bye.
End the recording and then.